My name is Monica Hutt. I'm the Director of Policy and Planning here at the Agency of Human Services. The Agency of Human Services in Vermont serves both vulnerable Vermonters and also really all Vermonters.
I'm Dru Roessle, Performance Improvement Manager at the Agency of Human Services. I love what I do because I get to think about results-based accountability pretty much every day in my professional life. But I get to see everyone's faces, and I get to see them in results-based accountability conversations, not just results-based accountability, but especially in RBA conversations, get so excited about how they knew all along that something they were doing could have had a bigger impact on somebody.
The Outcomes Bill, Act 186, represents the culmination of a tremendous amount of work, I think, and I think it's the direction forward for the Agency of Human Services and our nonprofit partners and the legislature in terms of thinking about how we do business, why we do business, and what we're actually accomplishing when we do the work that we are dedicated to doing. It's really this culmination of the legislature, nonprofit partners, and state government coming together to think about really defining what outcomes are most important to us, how we're going to measure them, and how we're going to continue to hold ourselves accountable as we move forward.
It's created an excitement around data and information, which I think otherwise has really kind of scared us in the Agency of Human Services with so much data.
That's absolutely true. Human Services is not, traditionally hasn't been an area that's comfortable with data. It's not how we're trained. Most of us come in with a social work background, so it's not a place that we feel most comfortable. It's not what we go back to. RBA makes that simple, easy to understand, non-threatening, and easy to manipulate in a way that people can feel comfortable even without a background in statistics. So the Agency of Human Services and Benchmarks for a Better Vermont have been working together for the past several years, actually, and it was this very serendipitous, burgeoning relationship. And there was just this great kind of merge where we realized that we could really reinforce each other. I think that the beauty of Benchmarks is that the agency is able to work internally and do the work that we want to do in the agency and actually work with the rest of state government and try to promulgate out that work, while Benchmarks is keeping our nonprofit partners at pace and actually at some points really kind of exceeding the work that we're doing. But it's nice to know that there's Benchmarks out there working with the nonprofits in a way that keeps us all moving forward.
And being able to refer folks who may not be as familiar with results-based accountability that we interact with at the agency to Benchmarks is such an asset. To be able to say there are a whole host of extremely competent dynamic trainers at Benchmarks for Better Vermont that are more than willing, that are completely committed to ensuring that we're developing competencies across the state. You can just call them and they'll come and help you. Yeah. It's like a one-stop shop for anyone who wants to know more about RBA or, be trained in RBA or even to become a trainer. It's just capacity building. I would recommend to anyone that they look to Benchmarks for a Better Vermont for training because they have so many competent, really dynamic trainers who not only know their stuff but will make it fun, and who are so well connected with the initiatives happening across the state that they're able to make connections that might not otherwise be possible for somebody coming in from out of state to give an RBA training, or even just a consulting firm that's able to give training that hasn't been so connected to this groundswell and partnership between the legislature, the executive branch, and community partners.
Yeah. I think what Benchmarks is really able to offer that other trainers might not be able to offer is the experience that they've had in moving nonprofit organizations from a beginning place to building a culture of accountability and an RBA culture in the nonprofit itself. And they bring that experience to bear with the trainers that they put out for nonprofits and for our partners. And so the RBA training, that standard piece, gets tweaked a little bit to understand what nonprofits are up against, and therefore modified just enough so that they can really use what they're hearing in the training in their organizations almost immediately.